but I got this message from the universe. It was really strong. It was the 4th of July, so like Independence Day vibes. And it was like, Tommy, you got to make a blockchain because you're going to make one like no one else.
Today, I interview crypto founder Tommy WorldPower.
What we've done way differently than anyone else. And I think it's crazy that no one else has done it.
As he explains why Energi blockchain is the next big thing.
Like, I built it, it's live, it's tested, it works.
And as they describe themselves, the safest blockchain in the world.
No theft in 3 years, no successful theft. I mean, I think we proved it. It works.
A blockchain that can literally protect you against scams, hacks, and theft.
Break it down in a practical sense. Like, what if I get hacked? Like, how does Energi solve this?
As well as why this crypto may just be the next Ethereum.
I have a lot of love for Ethereum. I want it to be highly EVM compatible. I think sooner or later, other blockchains are either gonna have to follow in our footsteps or they're going to be left behind.
Thank you, Energi, for being a channel partner. And let's start.
What is your background? Because I know you're an OG in crypto, but for the folks that don't know you, how'd you find crypto?
I was actually, I found crypto in 2012, and I used to keep a list of the best investments in the world. And then I found Bitcoin in 2012, and there was an article that said it went up 5,000% in a year. And I was like, no, there's no way, you know? And kind of like our first initial reaction. And then that might have actually been 2011 because I was watching it in 2012 and I watched Bitcoin in early 2012. It went from $10 to like $200. I was on spring break at the time in college and I was just watching on my phone and I was like, this is nuts. You know, what kind of asset does this? And I'd seen a lot of like stocks that will do that and then they'll go right back down. So I was like, it's going to go back down. And it never really did. Bitcoin and crypto has this stickiness. So I wanted to buy it when it went to $50. It didn't really. Excuse me, that surge happened in right at the early 2013, excuse me. That was that surge from $10 to $200 and then stabilized for a bit around $100. And then late 2013, like 6 months later, then it's going on another run and it hit $1,000. So in 2013, Bitcoin did that $10 to $1,000 and Litecoin went up 500 times. And I was just looking at it. I was like, man, I could have put 10 grand in and been a millionaire, but I didn't. I got in right at the peak of 2013, of course, like we all degen at the last minute. But I was like, I'm never taking my eyes off this again. And I never did. And I just studied it every day. And I was like, something this powerful deserves our attention, you know? So that was my kind of intro into it. And I started doing YouTube videos. And back then there weren't too many people doing them. And it was like a slow uptake, you know, just getting a follower here, follower there, you know, but bit by bit, you know, started coming on. And then, of course, you guys know 2017 was crazy. That was the craziest year we've ever had. I'm looking forward to more years like that. But it's hard. It's crazy to look back. It's been 10 years, man. This has been a long time. But I'm glad I'm in it. I'm grateful for the space. I always say we should be really grateful for it, right? You see some like tourists come in and out of it, but we have to be grateful for it. If you're grateful for it, it'll reward you, you know, and if you're not, then you won't be. So
those videos, those early videos you used to do on your own YouTube channel, you were talking about the value of Ethereum, you know, how people should check Ethereum out when it was at $1 or very, very early. At what point did you decide to create Energi? How'd you find that?
For sure. So I saw the start of like the smart contract movement. Back then, there were like a couple of other coins. There was like colored coins. There was Counterparty. There was even Doge Party, which I was a big fan of Dogecoin. I didn't want to say how much Dogecoin I had at one point because I wish I had it now, but had a lot of Dogecoin. And I probably turned like 10 or 20 million Dogecoin into Doge Party, which now is like completely extinct. But these were like some of the competitors for what Ethereum would be. And I did put $500 in the Ethereum ICO, and I scraped together another $250. This was in 2014. I didn't have a lot of money at the time, but each Ethereum was like 50 cents at the time. So, yeah. So I knew the power. Like Bitcoin's great. I have a lot of love for Ethereum. It's the granddaddy, you know, pioneered everything. We have to be grateful for that. But the technology, as we know, is limited on Bitcoin. By the way, back then it was really controversial to be pro Ethereum. Like the space was like 90% Bitcoin maximalist. So to like Ethereum back then was kind of, I don't know, like a trendy or a trendsetter or something, whatever, you know?
You were the black
So,
sheep for suggesting that Ethereum might have value.
yeah, it's crazy. So, and I made a video on Ethereum at $1. You can see it on my YouTube channel. At the very beginning, I didn't even know how to pronounce Ethereum. I called it Ethereum, but don't laugh at me because there was like there were a couple thousand people on Ethereum at the time. So yeah, so I was there right at the beginning of it, and happy to see that it's grown a lot. And then I was doing my YouTube channel too, and kind of building my audience meanwhile. And so energy is my creation, and it was the 4th of July 2017. And I was just looking at all the coins, and I saw that they just had deficiencies. Like most coins didn't have a treasury system. To put context in there, like Polygon just put a treasury system that creates like a treasury from the emission, you know, stuff like that that people are starting to figure out is valuable. There weren't many coins that did that. And I didn't really know why. But I got this message from the universe. It was really strong. It was the 4th of July, so like Independence Day vibes. And it was like, Tommy, you got to make a blockchain because you're going to make one like no one else. And I didn't know what that really was going to be or what it was going to look like. I know now what we've done way differently than anyone else. And I think it's crazy that no one else has done it. So I'll tell you about. But so that was in 2017, 4th of July again. And I just bootstrapped it. I didn't want to do an ICO because I didn't want energy to be a security, right? I had that foresight, which we see today, that those are getting attacked, coins at ICOs and stuff. So I didn't want to do an ICO, just bootstrapped it, and brick by brick started it with volunteers, like part-time people, and brick by brick. And it takes a long time to build a blockchain, guys, so you know. So no recommended unless you really want to do something for like maybe the rest of your life. So just heads up. Yeah.
Yeah, you and again, you were on the show Killer Whales. That's not out yet. That's premiering Q1, so no spoilers. But I remember my brother was a judge on your episode. I was in the back producing. Or producers and judges on the show. But I remember the judges kind of came at you for saying, "Oh, you got a message from God or the message from the universe." Explain to me, that doesn't sound that weird to me, but
Yeah, I don't know why that's so weird. Like, yeah, whether I see God and universe is the same thing. So, you know, but yeah, it was a really strong message. I can still feel it today. It was like, no, Tommy, you have to build this blockchain. It's like message, you know, 4th of July vibes. Again, like I'm watching on my phone, seeing everyone do all their 4th of July festivities. And that's the spirit of energy, guys, independence, which really ties into the if you really think of like the end game of crypto really is what I see is something to bring um, to liberate humanity, honestly, at the deepest level, because money's the blood of the world. And right now we have basically monopolies of the monies we can use. And as those monopolies are breaking, I think we're going to see more ethical money. And as a result, a more ethical world. So, but that blockchain has to be built right with the right foundations to achieve that. And I think that's where we've gone differently than most other blockchains that have missed. Like, I'll talk about security in a minute, but I'm baffled that the other blockchains have missed this. Maybe it's because I have a lot of experience and knowledge and see things in a different way. But yeah, those are kind of the roots of energy. Yeah.
And break it down for me very simple, because to me, energy has better security, prevents users from being scammed. How does that work?
For sure. So the first thing I'll say to this is, you know, leadership's about taking responsibility, right? When we're running a company or building a business or anything, it's about taking responsibility. We all like good products that have good customer service, right? Props to Amazon for phenomenal customer service. But these, I think, are key parts of a company or a blockchain that get overlooked. So in 2018 and 2019, Energy launched in 2018, was conceived on 4th of July 2017, took 10 months to build V1. So it launched in April 2018. Soon after that, users started getting scammed, just like any other blockchain. Like most blockchains today, scams are rampant. Well, how does that happen? They do impersonations. They would impersonate staff members. You know, they build trust. So they make a Discord account or Telegram account that's just like a staff member, right? Reach out to a user and say, hey, you know, just wanted to connect with you to see if you want any personal help or whatever, right? There's so many ways to get scammed. Those were pretty popular back then. They still happen today. But we started having users getting scammed. And I would hear about it, you know, because you're the leader, you're going to hear the reports. and we're hearing reports, this guy lost $10,000. This guy lost his life savings, you know, and I think again, good leadership is taking responsibility. So today, I think it's nuts. So I think I feel like I'm in the twilight zone sometimes. Like how am I the only founder who's like, hey, this has to be solved on the blockchain level? But I see others moving in that direction, you know, so that is happening with other projects. But it's not very common still, which is just crazy to me. We've kind of like let the hackers have their way, you know. But me being fairly knowledgeable in blockchain, I'm like, there's no way. There's no way this is the future, you know? This can't be. You can't, how are you going to bring your mom or your, you know, some newbie into blockchain who has no, you know, background, doesn't have all this experience to know to be like extremely careful about clicking on anything, you know, and then try to bring them into blockchain. Or what about big companies, you know? Like big companies, if they lose, the losses can be magnificent, can be huge. So that was kind of where philosophically I went different, I think, than most other blockchains. I think most other blockchains are like, it's part of the game and there's nothing we can do about it. But I have a different feeling of like, no way. In this abundant day and age of technology, there was most definitely something to do about it. I didn't know what it was, but I figured it out since. And I'm really proud of that. So
Break it down in a practical sense. Like, what if I get hacked? Like, how does Energi solve this?
for sure. Good question. So it's three layers to security. The first layer is you need to be alerted. Okay. Because sometimes if you get hacked or have your funds stolen, you don't know right away, right? And usually people find out hopefully within a day, but not always. So the best way to have it is wallet alerts. So you get an email. If you get your funds stolen, that's number one. So any blockchain could do that. This exists on other blockchains. Most blockchains don't do it. And it doesn't really help on most blockchains because if you find out your funds are stolen, you're kind of just screwed anyway. So
But how would they know? But how did the funds get moved and you just get an alert?
You could sign up for alerts. We have an alert part of our website. Just Google Energi alerts and you sign up. You put your address in there, your wallet address and your email address. So if your funds move, you get an email. We'll eventually have text and messages for it too. But emails, like it's similar to like your phone. Like I got a text like this some months ago where it said, did you spend $5,000 on airline tickets? Of course I didn't. Right. So we contact our bank and they reverse it for us. And like, that's what we need. Right. It's just normal stuff. So that's level one. Okay. Level two is what I've built, which I don't know anyone else who's built it, which is governance on the blockchain level. So governance that allows us to do asset recovery and to freeze bad actors. So if someone steals your funds, you get an alert, right? So you know about it. Now you come to our Discord, say, hey, so-and-so, or my wallet's been compromised, I need help. What we do is we first freeze that wallet. On our blockchain, you can freeze an address via a governance vote. It just requires twice as many yes votes as no votes. An address can be temporarily frozen for up to 2 weeks. And then if we hit a quorum on that vote, if it's more than 10% of the network, the address can be permanently frozen until we can do a proper investigation. And by the way, guys, this is like, I know it's like out of the box stuff, but we've been doing this for 3 years. You know, it's not like an idea. I'm not coming at you with like a pitch deck of like, oh, I think I can do this. No, we've done it and it works for 3 years. I don't know of any successful theft. I know of attempted theft. No one's got away with stealing funds on our blockchain that I know of. It's pretty powerful. So that's level two, that ability to freeze bad actors and to do an asset recovery. There's a third level too, and this is where we're just going above and beyond because no one's on level two yet, but it's because I care about, I just want my competitions myself. The third level is you need a 3-day delay when funds are going to a bridge or to an exchange. The reason for that is because if a hacker or thief steals money, what's the first thing they're going to do? They're going to dump it, right? Usually they'll dump the asset, they'll move it to an exchange and dump it or get it out of reach. So you need that 3-day delay. So if you find out if on Friday your funds got stolen, hopefully by Monday you check your email and notify us. We can't do longer than 3 days because it gets too long then, but 3.5 days is where the delay is for going to a bridge or to an exchange. And this isn't that long. Like a lot of these layer twos require a week just to withdraw from layer two or require 21 days to unstake. So 3.5 days isn't that long to everything on the Energi blockchain is very fast, only if you're leaving the ecosystem. But with these 3 layers, we've shut down crime. I don't want to say like because you can't like, there's other sorts of a slow rug pull or something is hard to catch, but in terms of theft or contract hacks or anything like that, no, we've shut those down. So it's pretty powerful.
And it's an important note that you said that on the Energi chain, it's super fast. It's just the minute that you want to exit the chain, that's when all those checks come in.
Exactly. So we're building kind of that secure ecosystem, where you can live and breathe and play on our blockchain and not worry about it. And if you have to leave the blockchain, it's not terribly prohibitive. It's not the end of the world. But that's the price of security. And I think it's well worth it. I think it's worth it for the developers. Like Kyber just got hacked the other day, right? It was hilarious. If you guys saw that message they got, like the guy's like trying to have him. He's trying to have him transfer like the ownership of the company. Like, how are you going to do that? Without revealing who these hackers are. Hackers are usually kids, by the way, guys. They're kids. They're usually under 20. They're not usually. And hackers and criminals, they're not super smart. They always leave tracks. They'll always leave breadcrumbs and stuff. It's like, but there's just vulnerabilities, and they find out how to take advantage of them. And that's what happens.
Tommy, what do you say to the haters that hear the words, whoa, you can freeze accounts? Whoa, there's a 3-day delay like the old system, that you're just recreating the centralization that we're coming from?
For sure. This is actually a good question. I hear quite commonly, oh, okay, so that's not decentralized. So I actually wrote an article on this in 2020. We're like 3 years out from that. And so the best way for me to explain this is if you guys ever use Napster. Like I used Napster when I was a teenager, downloaded music. And then one day they made it illegal, right? We couldn't do it anymore. Why? Because they went to Napster and were like, all right, guys, you got to shut down the servers. It's game over. Because Napster is centralized. You can shut down the servers and it's done. But then torrents came out and they could never shut down torrents. You can't shut down torrents today. Why can't you shut down torrents? Because they're decentralized. What that means is you have nodes all over the world. You can't shut down the network. So the true meaning of decentralization is a network that cannot be shut down. Decentralization does not mean the wild, wild west. It does not mean a complete lack of governance. I can't shut down Energi. If anyone's trying to come to me and say, shut down Energi, I can't do it. And I don't want that ability to, because I want it to be decentralized, right? But we have the ability to freeze addresses and do things like asset recovery. And those governance systems can be built in. And this is where we pioneered. You could do the same thing with voting for where funds go. And obviously different protocols have done that. So they've done that aspect of decentralized governance. None of them have done the aspect of decentralized governance in terms of asset protection and asset recovery. So what I would say to those people is this is out of the box stuff. This is pretty advanced, but this I think is inevitable. I think sooner or later, other blockchains are either going to have to follow in our footsteps or they're going to be left behind. Because how are you going to get the masses into crypto in this wild, wild west system? How are you going to get big businesses using the blockchain who might have good development teams but are newbies to blockchain and put one little bug in the code and, cause billions of dollars of losses? This sort of foundation is necessary for true mass adoption.
So how do you get those competing L1s like Avalanche, Cardano, Solana, whatever? They have the users right now, but they don't have the technology. How do you get the users in time to save people or just to beat them?
For sure. And I will tell you guys, me being leery of scams and stuff. So at the beginning, early on in Energi, I was leery to kind of bring on projects because there's so many scam projects out there, as you guys all know. I think we've all invested in our fair share of them. I didn't want to talk about the ICOs or NFTs, which I have a lot of love for NFTs, but dear God, talk about scams. So I think it took us 3 years to get here, Austin. Like we started in 2017, right? And to get to our Gen 3 product, which Energi is an EVM blockchain, it's very similar to Ethereum. And I did that on purpose. I have a lot of love for Ethereum. I want it to be highly EVM compatible. It took pretty much 3 years to get there. So like late 2020, by the time we had a stable EVM blockchain. And then we worked on a couple things. We built a bridge. We built Energi Swap, a DEX, and we're also building an NFT marketplace. So now is the time when our technology's been tried and tested. It works. Again, 3 years with no crime. So now is the time when we invite developers. I say, if you guys are building on an EVM blockchain and you want to build in a safe place, come build on Energi. This was actually Nick from DataDash. It was his idea, which is genius, which is, developers should look at Energy as like the Kasama to Polkadot, like a test net for Ethereum, where you can come build and build with peace of mind. You can build fast. You don't have to worry about a tiny little bug. You don't have to be anal about smart contract audits. You can build with that freedom. And God forbid there's a bug in your code and someone hacks and steals your funds. We can help you there where no one else can. So to your point of where do we get users and stuff? Well, now's the time. You know, if you guys are developers, come build. If you're an NFT project or a gaming project and you want to build with that security, you know, we provide that. We have an NFT marketplace called Gonna Make It. That's an alpha now. So you guys can actually, it works. You can do it on testnet. It'll be in on LiveNet within a few months at latest. So we have all the infrastructure you guys need, the exchanges you guys need to come do your thing in a safe way.
NFTs and gaming, especially the royalty aspect, I see as one a big niche to onboard real users, but also could definitely use security. Can you speak to that?
Totally. So it's actually right. Theft is a big issue we've seen, just assets being stolen. But one thing that I think is crazy that we've seen the past year is royalty theft on such a massive scale. And for those of you guys in NFTs, if you take a step back and look at it, look how crazy it is. We're having theft on a grand scale. None of these projects consented to paying 0% royalties. But what happened is because of the lack of governance on Ethereum and Solana and other blockchains, it just became the norm that exchanges could stop paying the project's royalties and no one could do anything about it. And that's been going on for like a year. And that to me is like crazy and just like really sinks it in of where we're at with a lack of security. On energy, we could stop that. We enforce royalties. Any marketplace on our blockchain that wouldn't pay royalties, we blacklist their contracts, prevent them from being able to move funds and essentially function. So, yeah.
Looking into 2024, give me a prediction in general for the crypto market for energy, where you see this market going.
Well, I'm stoked for 2024 and 2025 as well too. Again, following up 2025, we follow this 4-year cycle. 2025 would be the crazy year, but 2024 would also be a very good year. My targets for Bitcoin and Ethereum. For Bitcoin, I'm aiming 100 to 200K. Those are my targets for the peak of the cycle. Ethereum, I'm thinking 10 to 30K. So within that range. So, and then for energy, I don't want to give a projection on the price, but let's just say this. You guys think about this. What is a blockchain worth that can properly protect assets? You know, what is that blockchain worth? I don't know. You guys think about it. But we're pretty, I think our time is coming, you know, so.
I want you to give a final call to action. You did it for the builders, now for the average users and how they can learn more about energy. Links for all your stuff are down below. But before that, is there anything we didn't cover generally on energy that you would like to mention?
I would say, you guys, like sometimes I feel like I'm in the twilight zone. Like to bring the point home earlier, now I know why I was kind of destined to create energy, and I'm really happy I did. If I didn't create energy, then right now I'd be like, damn, I got to make this because I know I could make something like this, but no one else did. And that's why I had to make energy because the world needs this sort of technology, needs this sort of foundation in blockchain. We need this foundation. Let me tell you guys too that ultimately, if you guys think about kind of the end game of crypto and the end game of money, the end game of crypto again is to create competition for money. That's ultimately what it is. Again, we live in the States. We have to use a dollar for everything, right? It's a monopoly essentially. So crypto creates competition for money, but ultimately it creates competition for ethical money. Think way in the future. Money is just a form of energy, which is why I called it energy. It's not good or bad. It's how it's channeled. So you can channel that for good, or you can channel it for bad. If you steal money from people, if you're a robber, then you're probably, that energy flowing through you is probably not very good, right? But if you're doing good service for the world, you're getting paid for it. You know, that's pure money flowing through you. So I see crypto, the end game of crypto is competition for ethical money. We use that money that we believe in, and we empower that. The money you use, you empower. So this is the end game of crypto, and that's what I've created the foundation for. Again, in the future, in 10, 20, 30 years, whatever it is, I see competitors for energy, in that other people, there will be other ethical money, but you get to choose which ethics you align with, which values you align with. We all have slightly different values, right? We all believe in no theft and stuff, but our values are all slightly different. So that's what I see as the end game uh, of money, of crypto. And again, I think other blockchains, we're leading the way in this right now. But I think other blockchains will follow, and I look forward to that because it's going to be good for the evolution of the world. Um, and one more thing I'll say, right? The core thing of Bitcoin is it's a store of value, right? So think of energy at the very most basic level as like a safe store of value, where you can have your money, but also have peace of mind that you don't have to worry about it being stolen. You don't have to wake up and worry one day. I just want you guys to remember the emotion, because a lot of you guys may not have been scammed for a while, but I think my estimate is over 90% of people have been. Remember that feeling, what it feels like to be scammed. And that's the pain of the people I felt. It's this helpless feeling, right? It's like we want to recover our money, but it's like in the void. And who do we reach out to help? And then the first thing that happens when you post on Twitter is other people reply also trying to scam you. I mean, it's like the world needs this to evolve. That's the bottom line. And I'm a little bit of I'm the sort of person where excuse me, let me decline the call. Okay, sorry about that. I'm the sort of person where I want to make sure what I built works first. And that's why I didn't make a lot of noise about it at the beginning. Like, I'm the sort of person like, let me build this. It's out of the box. No one's done it. There's a lot of potential haters for it, people, disbelievers who don't think it's possible. I've seen that. A lot of people think it's not even possible what I've done. I'm like, let me build this, let me test it, and we're there. Like, I've built it, it's live, it's tested, it works. No theft in 3 years, no successful theft. I mean, I think we proved it. It works. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Is it going to keep being improved? Absolutely. But is this foundation like way above the standard? Yes. So, yeah.
Tommy, I love your passion. Links for energy for you down below in the video description. I want to ask you one last question. Talking about the Killer Whale show, as a contestant, no spoilers, but how was your experience?
Yeah, it was awesome. I had a lot of fun on the show. That was my first time doing a show like that. And I think you guys are going to love it. Yeah, no spoilers. Won't say how I did or anything, but you guys should definitely check it out. I think you guys will like the show. And they're doing a season 2. So if you're a project, you should look for that and apply to it. Yeah, you guys will enjoy it.
All right, Tommy, thank you for joining me, man.
One more thing, guys. If you guys are looking to get involved in energy, the best place, go to our website, energy.world, energi.world. There's a Get Energy tab. Click on that, has links to our MetaMask, the exchanges, all the stuff you need to get going is right there. Follow me on X if you guys aren't yet. Tommy WorldPower, that's my alias. Also on YouTube. I'm way more active on X though. But yeah, thank you for having me, Austin. It's a pleasure.